is. Actually, it is. I'm having trouble finding a good time at night to film, so I thought I would try this while my roommate is at work. Let's see how it goes. Also, I think I'm hearing a thunderstorm starting outside, which is wonderful. I love storms. Sorry if that bothers you, though. I'm gonna read you more of a bedtime story. I forgot to start with that, like always. This is more of the history of love. I think this is part 18, I'm pretty sure. I'm also in the process of trying to quit smoking cigarettes, so give me some applause, please. I've done pretty good today. Not other days, but today I've done good, okay? And I'm gonna try my hardest to keep doing good. Okay. I could go on and on, all the stories she told us. The field where she used to play. Yeah, I said, patting his hand. The field. 15 minutes later, I was sandwiched between the pit bull and a young woman in the back of a stretched limousine. You would think I was making a habit of it. We were going to Bernard's house for a small gathering of family and friends. I would have preferred to go to my son's house to mourn among his things, but I had to content myself with going to his half-brothers. Sitting in the seat opposite me in the limousine were two others. When one nodded and smiled in my direction, I nodded and smiled back. A relative of Isaac's, he asked. Apparently, the dog replied, groping for a lock of hair snapping in the draft from the window the woman had just lowered. It took almost an hour to get to Bernard's house, somewhere in Long Island. Beautiful trees. I'd never seen such beautiful trees. Out in the driveway, one of Bernard's nephews had split his pants legs to the knee and was running up and down in the sunlight, watching how they caught the breeze. Inside the house, people stood around a table piled with food talking about Isaac. I knew I didn't belong there. I felt like a fool and an imposter. I stood by the window, making myself invisible. I didn't think it would be so painful. And yet, to hear people talk about the son I'd only been able to imagine, as if he were as familiar to them as a relative, was almost too much to bear. So I slipped away. I wandered through the rooms of Isaac's half-brother's house. I thought, my son walked on this carpet. I came to a guest room. I thought, from time to time, he slept on this bed. This very bed. His head on these pillows. I lay down. I was tired. I couldn't help myself. The pillows sank under my cheek. And as he lay here, I thought, he looked out this very window at that very tree. You're such a dreamer, Bruno says, and maybe I am. Maybe I was also dreaming this. In a moment, the doorbell would ring. I'd open my eyes, and Bruno would be standing there asking if I had a roll of toilet paper. I must have fallen asleep because the next thing I knew, Bernard was standing above me. Sorry, didn't realize anyone was in here. Are you sick? I sprang up. If the word spring can be used in a reference to my movements at all, this was the moment. And that's when I saw it. It was on a shelf right behind his shoulder. In a silver picture frame. I would say plain to see, but I've never understood that expression. What could be less plain than seeing? Bernard turned. Oh, that, he said, taking it down off the shelf. Let's see. This is my mother when she was a child. My mother, see. Did you know her then, the way she looked in this picture? Let's stand under a tree, she said. Why? Because it's nicer. Maybe you should sit on a chair and I'll stand above you, like they always do with husbands and wives. That's stupid. Why is it stupid? Because we're not married. Should we hold hands? We can't. But why? Because people will know. Know what? About us. So what if they know? It's better when it's a secret. Why? So no one can take it from us. Isaac found it in her things after she died, Bernard said. It's a nice photograph, isn't it? Don't know who he is. She didn't have much from over there. A couple of photos of her parents and her sisters, that's all. Of course, she had no idea she wouldn't see them again, so she didn't bring much. But I never saw this one until one day Isaac found it in a drawer in her apartment. was inside an envelope with some letters. They were all in Yiddish. Isaac thought they were from someone she used to be in love with and slot him. I doubt it, though. She never mentioned anyone. You can't understand a word I'm saying, can you? If I had a camera, I said, I'd take a picture of you every day. That way I'd remember how you looked every single day of your life. I look exactly the same. No, you don't. You're changing all the time. Every day a tiny bit. If I could, I'd keep a record of it all. If you're so smart, how did I change today? You got a fraction of a millimeter taller. For one thing, your hair grew a fraction of a millimeter longer. And your breasts grew a fraction of a... They did not. Yes, they did. Did not. Did too. What else, you big pig? You got a little happier and also a little sadder. Meaning they cancel each other out, leaving me exactly the same. Not at all. The fact that you got a little happier today doesn't change the fact that you also became a little sadder. Every day you become a little more of both, which means that right now, at this exact moment, you're the happiest and the saddest you've ever been in your whole life. How do you know? Think about it. Have you ever been happier than right now, lying here in the grass? I guess not. No. And have you ever been sadder? No. It isn't like that for everyone, you know. Some people, like your sister, just get happier and happier every day. And some people, like Bela Ash, just get sadder and sadder. And some people, like you, get both. What about you? Are you the happiest and saddest right now that you've ever been? Of course I am. Why? Because nothing makes me happier and nothing makes me sadder than you. My tears fell on the picture frame. Luckily, there was glass. I'd love to stay here reminiscing, Bernard said, but I really should go. All those people out there, he gestured. Let me know if you need anything. I nodded. He closed the door behind him, and then, God help me, I took the photograph and shoved it in my pants. Down the stairs I went and out the door. In the driveway, I knocked on the window of one of the limousines. The driver roused himself from sleep. Ready to go back now, I said. To my surprise, he got out, opened the door, and helped me in. When I got back to my apartment, I thought I'd been robbed. The furniture was overturned and the floor was dusted with white powder. Every surface was covered with pots and pans and dirty bowls. It seemed that whoever had broken in to rob me had taken time to make a meal. I stood with the photograph down my pants. There was a crash behind me and I turned and swung blindly. But it was just a pot that had slipped from the counter and rolled across the floor. On the kitchen table next to my typewriter was a large cake, sunk in the middle, standing nonetheless. It was frosted with yellow icing. And across the top, in sloppy pink letters, it read, "Look who baked a cake." On the other side of my typewriter was a note. Waited all day. I couldn't help it. I smiled. I put the baseball bat away, upturned the furniture that I remembered I had knocked over the night before, took out the picture frame, breathed on the glass, wrapped it with my shirt, and set it up on my night table. I climbed the stairs to Bruno's floor. I was about to knock when I saw the note on the door. It said, "Do not disturb. Gift under your pillow." It had been a long time since anyone had given me a gift. A feeling of happiness nudged my heart. That I can wake up each morning and warm my hands on a cup of tea. That I can watch the pigeons fly. That at the end of my life, Bruno has not forgotten me. Back down the stairs I went. To delay the pleasure I knew was coming my way, I stopped to pick up my mail. I let myself back into my apartment. Bruno had managed to leave a dusting of flour over the entire floor of the place. Maybe a wind had blown in, who knows? In the bedroom, I saw that he had gotten down on the floor and made an angel in the flour. I stepped around it, not wanting to ruin what had been made so lovingly. I lifted my pillow. It was a large brown envelope. On the outside was my name, written in a handwriting I didn't recognize. I opened it. Inside was a stack of printed pages. I began to read. The words were familiar. For a moment, I couldn't place them. Then I realized they were my own. We're starting on the next chapter. It's called My Father's Tent. Looks like she's gonna be listing more things, too. Yep. Okay, so she's listing things about her father's tent. Number 1. My father did not like to write letters. One day a letter came. She wanted to know if I had ever been to Sears Roebuck. At the end there was a P.S. It said, "Boy in my class is moved to New York. Maybe you want to write him because he knows anybody." That was the last I ever heard from her. I searched out other forms of life. "Where's Brighton Beach?" I asked. "In England," my mother said, searching the kitchen cabinets for something she'd misplaced. "I mean the one in New York. Near Coney Island, I think." "How far is Coney Island?" "Maybe half an hour. Driving or walking?" "You can take the subway." "How many stops?" "I don't know. Why are you so interested in Brighton Beach?" "I have a friend there. His name is Misha and he's Russian." I said with admiration. "Just Russian?" My mother asked from inside the cabinet under the kitchen sink. "What do you mean, just Russian?" She stood up and turned to me. "Nothing," she said, looking at me with the expression she sometimes gets when she's just thought of something amazingly fascinating. "It's just that you, for example, are 1/4 Russian, 1/4 Hungarian, 1/4 Polish, and 1/4 German." I didn't say anything. She opened a drawer, then closed it. "Actually," she said, "you could say you're 3/4 Polish and 1/4 Hungarian, since Bub's parents were from Poland before they moved to Nuremberg, and Grandma Sasha's town was originally in Belarus, or White Russia, before it became part of Poland." She opened another cabinet stuffed with plastic bags and started rooting around in it. I turned to go. "Now that I'm thinking about it," she said, "I suppose you could also say you're 3/4 Polish and 1/4 Czech, because the town Zaid came from in Hungary before 1918, and in Czechoslovakia after, although the Hungarians continued to consider themselves Hungarian, and briefly even became Hungarian again during the Second World War. Of course, you could always just say you're half Polish, 1/4 Hungarian, and 1/4 English, since Grandpa Simon left Poland and moved to London when he was 9. She grabbed a piece of paper from the pad by the telephone and started to write vigorously. A minute passed while she scratched away at the page. "Look," she said, pushing the paper over so I could see it. "You can actually make 16 different pie charts, each of them accurate." I looked at the paper. It said, "Then again, you could always just stick with half English and half Israeli, since I'm American," I shouted. My mother blinked. "Suit yourself," she said, and went to put the kettle on to boil. From the corner of the room, where he was looking at the pictures in a magazine, Bird muttered, "No, you're not. You're Jewish." Number 5. Once I used the pen to write to my father. We were in Jerusalem for my bar mitzvah. My mother wanted to have it at the Wailing Wall so Bub and Zaid, my father's parents, could attend. When Zaid came to Palestine in 1938, he said he wasn't ever going to leave, and he never did. Anyone who wanted to see him had to come to their apartment in the tall building in Kiryat Wolfson, overlooking the Knesset. It was filled with the old dark furniture and old dark photographs they'd brought from Europe. In the afternoon, they lowered the metal blinds to protect it, all from the blinding light, because nothing they owned was made to survive in that weather. My mother looked for weeks for cheap tickets and finally found 3 $700 tickets on LL. It was still a lot of money for us, but she said it was a good thing to spend it on. The day before my bar mitzvah, Mom took us to the Dead Sea. Bub came too, wearing a straw hat that stayed on with a band under her chin. When she came out of the changing room, she was fascinating in her bathing suit, her skin wrinkled and puckered and covered with blue veins. We watched her face flush in the hot sulfur springs, beads of sweat forming on her upper lip. When she got out, water streamed off of her. We followed her down to the edge of the water. Bert stood in the mud, crossing his legs. "If you have to go, go in the water," Bub said in a loud voice. A group of heavy Russian women coated in the black mineral clay turned to look. If Bub noticed, she didn't care. We floated on our backs while she kept watch over us from under the wide brim of her hat. My eyes were closed, but I felt her shadow over me. "You don't have a bosom. What happened?" I felt my face get hot and pretended not to have heard. this word is, so I'm not saying it. I paddled out to get some distance from her giant, imposing bosom. Her voice followed me, but it won't last forever. I tried to stand and slipped in the clay. I scanned the flat water for my mother until I caught sight of her. She'd swum beyond the farthest bather and was still going. The next morning I stood at the wailing wall, still stinking of sulfur. The cracks between the massive stones were filled with tiny crumbling papers. The rabbi told me that if I wanted, I could write a note to God and add it to the cracks. I didn't believe in God, so I wrote to my father instead. Dear Dad, I'm writing this with the pen you gave me. Yesterday, Bird asked if you could do the Heimlich, and I told him yes. I also told him you could fly a hovercraft. By the way, I found your tent in the basement. I guess Mom didn't notice it when she threw out everything that belonged to you. It smells of mildew, but it doesn't have any leaks. Sometimes I set it up in the backyard and lie inside thinking about how you used to lie in it too. I'm writing this, but I know that you can't read it. Love, Alma. Bub wrote one too. When I tried to stuff mine into the wall, hers fell out. She was busy praying, so I picked it up and unfolded it. It said, Baruch Hashem, I and my husband should live to see tomorrow, and that my Alma should grow up to be blessed with health and happiness. And what would be so terrible? Some nice breasts. Seriously, what is it with grandmas talking about boobs so much? My grandma literally does this. It makes me so uncomfortable. I hate it so much. Anyway, I'm gonna stop there for today. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and also give it a like if you made it this far, because it helps me know that you made it this far. Also, if you're able to give a like on this video, that means that you have a YouTube channel, and that means that you're able to subscribe to my channel, which you should also do. My channel is starting to grow very slowly, only because of my shorts. It would really mean a lot to me if you subscribe to my channel from these videos, if you do watch them, so that YouTube at least starts giving my long-form content more of a chance, because it's not really working right now as well as my shorts are, and it's sad. Also, if you did both of those things, also then hit the notification bell and make sure you hit all notifications so you're notified when I come out with more videos in this series. I will have a pinned comment below of a playlist that I've made of all of these videos in order, so that if you want to watch them in order and know exactly what's going on, then you can. It's a wonderful book. It's a wonderful series. I just made it to page 98 in this episode, so there is a lot. There is 100 pages of me reading it already on YouTube, so yeah, if you do enjoy this, I recommend watching those, because by golly, is it such a good book. It's only gonna get better. I think I'm finally halfway through it now. Nope, I'm still not. I'm probably a third, or a little over a third of the way through it. So yeah, a lot more to go. Also, leave a comment if you have any suggestions, if you want me to do anything more like this. I don't know, I've never done ASMR. I'm just reading this book to you guys because I love it, and it's very calming, and it's something that I enjoy making, editing, posting, rewatching, all of that jazz. So yeah, if you have any suggestions, let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Whatever you're doing, have a good day, good night, good evening. Bye guys. Also check out my other content. I just dyed my hair with Brad Mondo's hair dye. There was a lot of steps that it took. We had to cut my hair, bleach it again, dye it. So yeah, it would mean a lot to me if you did just go to my channel and then go to the videos tab, which will show you all of my videos in order. Then you'll be able to see what videos you're interested in and click on any ones, because YouTube isn't going to recommend them to you. My channel is too small for that still, so yeah, please go and look for yourself. It would mean a lot to me. Thank you. A neat little tidbit for y'all. Okay, bye guys. My channel is sponsored by a website called Wildflower Sex. For the rest of this ad read, I'm going to say sax, like saxophone, instead of the word that I need to say. So let's talk more about Wildflower Sex. They are a sexual wellness company. First, I'll tell you about what I've purchased from there so far. wellness, but they talk about inclusivity and how you can learn how to be more inclusive and things like that. Here's one example of something called the NB. If you scroll down, it will tell you what it's good for, what it's best used for, and if you scroll even more, you get some pretty detailed, pretty honest, and great reviews, which, I don't know, for me, it's nice to see honest reviews on a website. But not only that, it's pretty dang entertaining too. If you never have, go through the reviews of saxophone toys. Yeah, that's pretty fun. Anyway, my favorite part about this website isn't even the toys and inclusivity. It is the article that they give you about saxophone education. It is so hard to keep remembering to say saxophone. You go to this tab and there's tons of articles about gender, how-to guides, relationships, sax, body positivity, toys, tools, and my favorite I found, mental health. Super helpful. It's so wonderful to see an adult website that promotes saxophone wellness and education rather than just trying to throw stuff at you to buy constantly. Consider shopping around the site. And again, my affiliate link is in the description below. And if you can't spend money right now, I fully understand. Check out the website anyway and read the articles they have to offer because it's never too late to learn new things. Purchase anything through my link, then I will get part of that commission, so you would be supporting me. It would be great. By the way, I have other links if you want to check those out. They will be in my link trick below as well. If you have to go in the water, Bub said in a loud voice. That sounds like my grandma.